Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Dark Void Zonin, and in this um in this series of interviews that I've been doing, I'm now where I talk to people either in my friend circles or like my girlfriend Emily's friend circles. This time I decided at the recommendation of Emily to interview one of her closest childhood friends, Katelyn.
Hello.
Yeah. Yep, and for this interview, I'm going to talk about the a book that Caitlin is working on, like and she asked me for a little help on like promoting this book that she's been preparing to release. You said 2 months. In 2 months you're gonna publish it, you said.
Yeah, hopefully in August. No later than August.
Yeah, yeah, yes, and I'm going to ask her a couple questions about it, like the writing process, like what the hope she has for like the release of said book, and um, yeah, and what she aims to accomplish, as well as in general, being like the writer she is, and like how she gets her inspirations or what inspires her as a writer. So without fully ado, let's get started. So Kaylin, so before we officially get started with the questions, like what can you tell the viewers out there what the name of your book is?
Yes, the name of my book is A Sky Painted with Blood. Um, yeah,
That's like a really creative name. Like it's very dark and brooding,
thank you.
of course. And could you name both the genres and subgenres the book has? I mean, if there are any subgenres.
Yes, it's a commercial young adult fantasy set in a supernatural apocalyptic world with vampires.
Oh yeah, those are all genres that I'm really familiar with. I remember as a kid, I was like one of the first like really supernatural writers I've really been into was Stephen King. I mean, I know not everybody has a positive opinion on him now, but like every a lot of supernatural, dark, gothic fiction lovers like started with him. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've read a couple Stephen King books, but I wouldn't say it like influenced my book personally.
Gotcha. And like the young adult genre you also mentioned, I've been familiar with a bunch of those as well. Like, um, yeah, like those are also that's also another genre that resonates with a lot of individuals. Okay, so next question: what event first sparked the idea of the concept of your book?
Well, I've been working on this book, I think, since the beginning or like the start of the beginning of quarantine, actually. So it's
Oh,
been,
so like for that long.
yeah, it's been up to 6 years so far. I started when I was 17, so probably even before I was 17. But I remember, I'm not 100% sure what really sparked my interest, but the first idea, because it was very different in the beginning. The book, like idea was very different. It's come really far, but the main idea, because like I read and watched a lot of like apocalyptic genres and like apocalyptic worlds and how people interact with that, but it's always from the like the viewpoint of a neurotypical person, like how
Hmm.
they deal with it. And I was like, okay, but what about if they're neurodivergent, like me, like an autistic person? So I, that was my idea basically. The main character, Maya, she's autistic, and this apocalypse happens, and it's basically from her point of view. It's also there's a second point of view, but it's mostly from her point of view and like how she basically how she like feels about it and how she gets through it from like not a typical person, how a person views the world, basically, like the struggles and like how difficult it is for her compared to other people.
Ah, that's like a good that's a good way to like summarize yeah, yeah, like neurodivergent representation is like always really pleasant to like see nowadays. Like especially since I know like you're I know I know already that you're neurodivergent like as I am and as Emily is and has like a good majority of people like in Emily's friend groups are. I mean, I know you're part of like one of them. Like neurodivergent representation, like it's really important because it like shows that like it gives like I guess breaks stereotypes and like helps people see more for like neurodivergence for like what they are. I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
I think that also like a subgenre I've been getting into is called autistic rage. It's a like subgenre in some books where it's basically pushing those boundaries of like a typical autistic person and like how society views us basically and like the rage autistic people feel of like not being understood and like the struggles. And I actually read a couple books with autistic rage. It's basically just like the struggle and the fear and just and I put that into my character Maya and basically just like she's so angry and like just basically the struggles and just the how society views stuff like that. So,
Yeah, like yeah, that's definitely like a good way of remaining um putting passion into like character like the relatability is one of the best things in my opinion that a character could have especially nowadays. Okay, so next question, if you could best compare your book to any well-known form of art, what would it be?
um, well, I guess I'm not 100% sure.
Take your
Maybe
time.
um, well, I guess certain books that are similar. Um, I actually have the book with me if I can. I think this one is the most, I guess, like similar in a way. Um, it's Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White, and it's
uh
basically similar. It's by a trans author as well, so
ooh.
that's pretty cool. But
Hmm.
I think trans and autistic author. So it's basically apocalyptic world and follows the main character basically like struggling through it and it's supernatural at the same time. So it blends
Mm.
those two, supernatural and apocalyptic, dystopian. And then this one, Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews, is an autistic rage book. Basically, it's a, I guess, supernatural, like horror book. Basically, the character is autistic and just the struggles and just is similar to my main character Maya and like just like trying to push the boundaries and like what society thinks and just basically just getting out of like that cage you're put in of like how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to be, and just be yourself basically. So I'd say those are like most inspiration or like similar to my book.
That's good. That's a good answer. Like, yeah, and I especially love how you mentioned like the trans author. Um like LGBT representation is also really important. Like for that community like have an identity too. like especially with like people like J.K. Rowling like trying to like break it down.
Yeah. And my book also has sapphic representation. There's a romance between Maya and a vampire princess named Raven. So there's also like it's also Maya's like struggles with identity and like her feelings towards Raven is also a big point in the book.
Oh, I see. That's a good plot point to bring up. Which turn of events within the story would you consider the one that involved using the most brain strength creatively?
Ooh, there's a scene in the middle of the book, towards the middle of the book, where it's like a car chase scene. And it's with I think it was with a stick shift, and I've never driven a stick shift before. And just the
Mm.
terminologies of a car and putting in the gasoline in the car, because it's like there's no electronic cars. It's the apocalypse. You know, there's barely any gasoline or anything, and there's barely any working cars. But basically, I had to like do a lot of research on like how bad, like how fast does gasoline get bad, and like how to put it in the car and how to like drive the car, and then also like how fast like because like the car is going like 100 miles per hour, and one of the characters has to jump to the back of the truck where like the bed is. And I was like, how logically like can a person do that? And then like just a bunch of research, and it was just a really hard scene to write. But the people who have read my book say it's like one of their favorite scenes. So I think I hopefully did it justice. So
Ah, gotcha. So it's a chase scene. Yeah. That's. What are you saying? What are you
yeah,
gonna say?
no, I was just saying it's chasing because there's vampires chasing them. I should have said that.
Oh,
They're being chased by vampires, and vampires are faster than humans. So in order to like faster than them, they need a car. So they steal a car, they find a car, and they're being chased by vampires. And at the same time, they have to kill the vampires that are currently chasing them. They're also like none of the characters have driven before as well. So it's like a lot's going on. Oh, and then one character like starts like bleeding out. They're like heavily wounded, and then Maya is dissociating. She's having an autistic meltdown at the same time. And it's all this stuff is going on. It was just a lot going on.
oh wow. Yeah, oh yeah, vampires. Yeah, yeah, vampires are awesome. I remember a couple months ago I used to try and see if I was one. I know people are still trying to figure out if Gerard Way is one. Yeah, but yeah, that's a good that's like brilliant um example of like your writing process and like what and like the effort you put into like each scene in the book. What's your outlook on today's day and age of writers and or the writing industry as a whole?
Okay. I've noticed because I'm on Book Talk, and like there's a lot of push with like I don't judge at all, but like certain like dark romance has become a big thing on certain parts of the Book Talk, and like like spicy books also big as well. And like I don't judge that, but like you shouldn't be asking that when it's a young adult book. You
Mm.
know, like it's the characters, my characters are 16 and 17. And I
Uh,
see people like not asking about my book, but like the same age range being like, oh, is there spice in this? Like adult person. And it's like I see that a lot in book talk, and it's like I think that's increased due to like I guess the normalization of spice in books. But also like
mm.
there's AI as well, which I do not like as a writer. just a lot of people, especially for their book covers. I see like a lot of, yeah, it's a lot of people like follow me with AI like profile pictures and they're promoting their book through like AI. And it's like I don't want to be mean, but like I don't like I just don't want to interact with that side of the
Yeah. Yeah, like you're right. This whole like I've seen something on Reddit where it mentions how this generation has become so obsessed with sexualization and not only that, but like certain parts of like the creative spectrum is so like AI consumed now.
yeah. I I actually saw a publishing company, their one of their books that they represent, the authors they represent used AI as
Uh,
the cover, and I was gonna sign with them, but I did more research and I was like, oh, that's they're making money off of the book that uses an AI cover. And it's like, okay, did they write their book with AI as well? You know, like how far does it go? And it's like I don't want to like, like claim people do that, but like if you're making your book cover AI, you know, it
yeah,
just
that,
it goes against being an author in any sort of art.
mm-hmm,
It's yeah.
yeah, and the next, yeah, yeah, sometimes that can be a red flag there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. What part of this book felt the most personal to you when writing it?
Um, I think like Maya, the main character, struggling with her identity and just the fact that she's autistic. Because I was diagnosed when I was 17.
Hmm.
Um, so it was like a big change in my life, sort of. So her
Gotcha.
like just like because her internal monologue, like she like talks about how like like all these struggles and these she goes through these traumatic events basically, and because she's also neurodivergent, it kind of like makes it more present. Like she I don't want to spoil some parts, but basically she like goes through something traumatic and she almost dies, and she basically like loses control, and this vampire she kills, she's like, is it dead? Like what happens if like it tries to kill me? And she just like loses it and like just destroys the vampire even though it's already dead. And she's like, it's gonna come back, like I have to like, and she just basically mutilates this vampire, and to like the point where like the head's gone, and she's like, I had to do it, like it's gonna get me, it's like, and like she like breaks down, and just like those like intrusive thoughts um she also struggles with, and just that like a need to like do something about it, like, or like your brain is telling you, oh, it's gonna happen. Like that part in my book like is just about that feeling. And it, yeah, just like it's a book about an apocalypse, but it's also about like struggles and like a real person. Like it's about real people. It's about real struggles and like found family and friendships and just growing up in a world that is trying to put you down, and like that basically doesn't like, you're not part of like the normal, how people like the, I guess the straight white cis world, basically just how like a struggle it is basically.
Hmm. Ah, that's a brilliant summary. Like all those things that all those really real world struggles that like they're still like really relevant today. And like like I can see that's definitely personal. Like not just the like neurodivergent struggles part, but like all these forms, all these things like that you like. elaborated on right there.
Yeah. And also, I think a big part is because there's also a big part in the book where like Maya comes to terms that she's a lesbian basically. And she's like pushed it down so far because she can't really take time to think about it because she's running for her life. Like she is constant on survival mode, like fight or flight. Her body is just constantly like in panic. She can't sit down and think of those thoughts. But when like Raven comes into the group, um, she's basically secretly a vampire princess who's masquerading as a human. And her goal is to kill Maya, basically. Sort of like a secret enemies to lovers thing. They don't
Oh
really know they're
wow,
enemies, sort of. But she like slowly Raven like it's both sides because Raven's like, oh, I can't fall in love with a human. That's her main thing. Not that she's a girl, but that she's a human. But with
gotcha,
Maya, it's, oh, I can't fall in love like with a girl. And slowly, like throughout the book, she slowly comes to terms with it. And then there's this scene towards the end where she comes out to her best friend Kane, who's her childhood best friend. And it's this really emotional scene, basically, where she breaks down and she's like just coming out to him. And it's like I feel like there should be more like just like wholesome coming out scenes, especially between platonic male and female friendships. So that scene I think is like very important to me.
gotcha. Yeah, like that makes it makes a lot of sense. Like about that as well. Since not to like get like super personal about this, but like like I think like aside from being also neurodivergent, you're also aren't you also LGBT? You
Yes.
yeah,
Did I
gotcha.
say yeah, sapphic or gay
Huh?
is the term. Sapphic or gay? You know
Uh,
sapphic?
not that I've heard. I don't think.
That's just another term for like women loving women, basically.
Oh, gotcha. Hmm. I yeah. I like it. I like it took me years to like really understand like each of like the parts of LGBT community. Like yeah. How much time does it take for the average process of writing, at least from your perspective?
Um, well, there's like you have to go through drafts like because I've rewritten and edited my book so many times. There's, I didn't make an outline for this book, which I definitely should have, but I kind of just sat down and wrote whatever, like sort of cohesive. But I feel like it's important to make an outline before you do, but I didn't do that, so it kind of like messed with me later on.
Hmm.
But I made numerous drafts. Basically, I just wrote down whatever and then put an ending on the book, and then went through it again, reread it, edited, and then like throughout the years, just constantly rereading and editing. And then I think sometime in what was that? A couple of years ago, I actually paid for an actual editor um to help edit my book from Upwork. Annalise Beeler, shout out to her. But she's a professional editor and she edited my book and like proofread it and like gave me tips and stuff. So that was, but that was just the first like big edit. And then a couple of years later, like a year or two later, I asked her again to edit my book. And she did that. And that was like the final big edit. And then I allowed my Grammy to read the book, to like beta read the book. And basically, there's her ideas like as a viewer. And then I wanted someone around my age to read it as well. So my friend Renisha, shout out to
Oh, I've
her.
heard of her.
Yeah, she read my book and gave me points and like pointers and stuff. And then that's basically at the final edit. Right now, my dad has also read it, but he's like, we're basically formatting it in, I think, Word. and we're just going through the final. He's rereading it. We're both rereading it, putting in the final touches, and then hopefully in August it'll be ready to be published.
Oh, good. That's good luck with the publication.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, so this question, what part of your work do you feel could best serve as a metaphor for something?
Um, I feel like I guess like vampires are they're seen as a metaphor for a lot of things. Like take like Interview for the Vampire, the show. There's a lot of metaphors there for specifically for vampires. And I like that idea of like same with like different supernatural creatures, like werewolves can be a metaphor for women, like changing into a wolf at like the full moon, stuff like that. Like vampires can show like what it's like to be seen as different, basically from normal people, and also feeling different. And because you're different from society, you're a vampire, so you're viewed different, you feel different, like people treat you differently. And that could be shown through also like human experiences of feeling the same way as a vampire would. And also just feeling like monstrous and feeling like bad and like wrong. And like I'd um it's similar in a way to this show, this anime called The Summer Hikaru Died, if you know it.
Um,
Um,
I wish I was like super like in touch with anime. As a lot of so the only anime I'm familiar with is Studio Ghibli movies.
mm, yeah, I'm not that big on anime, but this one is basically similar, where it's this same metaphor as like a different creature, like a supernatural creature, and how like alienated you feel, but it also can describe like from the metaphor of being queer as well. That's like what the anime is about, of feeling different, but also like feeling like a monster because of your feelings. And like that's similar like towards my book and vampires, and just the like the feeling of being different and being a monster, and you feel like you're a monster because you have these feelings basically. And like just that, I guess, genre of horror, basically like queer horror, just feeling like this kind of like the horror of just existing, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, the horror of existing. Yeah, like man, like that's like yeah, I guess yeah, like that's a feeling. That's I think that's like a fear that a lot of people like who deal with identity issues and self-hate like they can very much relate to.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, like that's a really good answer right there.
thank you.
Of course. Being a writer, would you say the theme or tone of this book is in line with other works that you've either made or have in mind for the future?
Um, yeah, I have plans for other books. Um, I do want to write a sequel for A Sky Painted with Blood. I plan for it to be a duology.
Oh.
Um, so hopefully like I have already started writing the second book
Mm-hmm.
just to like get some ideas. So, but after that, I plan to definitely write a lot more books. Um, I have some planned out, like similar themes of just like I also really like body horror in books, like different types of body horror,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
I've heard of like that type of element.
yeah, like and like also that'd be a metaphor, like vampire, because vampirism can even be like body horror in a way, but stuff like that where like it's genre defying, it's like gothic, and like just similar characters, but like I have a plan for like I also want to get into adult books as well. Like so I want to write more YA, but I also want to get into more like or my characters are around my age, 21.
Yeah,
But just like similar like fantasy, horror books, sci-fi, just like similar. I have a lot of ideas.
that's good. And keep those ideas in mind and use them to the best of your advantage. I mean creatively, I mean. Um Next one. What portion of your writing did you feel readers who you already know would best say, "Yeah, that's fitting for her personality."
Uh, Sorry, could you explain the question? I don't know
It's fine.
what
I
you
have
mean.
trouble like putting things in good words. Like what part of I guess you could say like what part of your book do you feel like people who know you who've read it already would like say that's best like fits your personality?
Um, I guess like my my dad has read it a couple of times. He's helping me like edit and stuff. I'm really thankful he's been a part of the process. But I say like
Mm,
he'd like oh she really likes horror stuff like because there are some horror elements in my book. There is a lot of violence and gore as well because
mm,
it's you know vampires, apocalypse. There would be stuff like that.
ah,
But I think my dad would be like, oh, like this fits her personality. Like she likes darker stuff, like horror video games. I've been playing a lot. Just
gotcha.
like scary stuff. Be like, oh, like it fits the stuff she likes.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's pretty fitting. Like since a lot of people's I know as parents like they like most people who want to go through their respective creative career paths they don't like have parents or like relatives in general like who are like really knowledgeable about the thing they're trying to do. So they like have to go through it they have to go through trial and error like to get to where they want to be.
yeah, I'm really thankful that I have people in my family who are willing to like help my author journey.
That's all right. How often do you spend in the writing room and how do you keep from getting distracted from your creative flow?
Um, I usually write, I think like about like an hour or two after I wake up, before like when I have my coffee, I sit down at this desk and I just like I usually listen to music. And sometimes it can be distracting, so I put on classical music to
Ah,
like so I don't get distracted by the lyrics and stuff.
hmm.
So, and I just kind of like I have to like really focus to get into the flow of writing. And sometimes I do get distracted, but if I like really have an idea that I need to get down, I'll just write it all down, uh, then and there. But also sometimes I like to write like really late at night when I'm like kind of like in that zone where I'm like tired and like I don't even like I kind of just write down whatever, like those like weird ideas and thoughts. I just like for like ideas for books, basically, and then I get into a flow then that which I wouldn't be in like earlier in the day to get more like ideas.
Yeah, I see. So like balancing out your everyday life with trying to get some writing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like smart way of navigating that like whole process. What are your best methods of avoiding or overcoming writer's block?
Hmm. Um, Sometimes it does happen. There's really a point where like I didn't work on my book for like months at a time, but I think I just need to get inspired. Like I need to be constantly inspired and engaged with like I guess like media that are sort of similar to my book. but also I think like with my dad helping me with my book, it's kind of gives me like purpose to continue, like to not get writer's block and just like to keep going, to the finish line. Like I want to get, it also helps that I want to get this done by August. I have a deadline.
Yeah.
So that definitely really helps.
Yeah, like that helps with a lot of creators like in literature, music, content creating, like remembering that like remembering something that really throws away all the worries like deadlines or quotas. Like I remember like for my podcast channel, I'm trying to like reach the required amount of followers or streams and downloads to like have it fully monetized. And like yeah, a lot of people like have different goals to like set creatively. Okay, so ah, what's the biggest plot point you can share for your book without spoiling the story? I mean, you kind of already answered this before, but like yeah, if you have a different one, you can.
Well, the basis of the book is that basically humans and vampires basically existed at the same time. Like since like the creation of the earth, since the first ever humans, vampires have been there. They're the top of the food chain instead of humans. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
they're the natural human predator, basically. It's like
Yeah.
basically our world, but what happens if there was like a natural predator to humans, basically? And technically, they're not like called vampires. Like till later on, they are called vampires, but they're technically not the traditional vampire. Like their heart still beats up until until a point in their life, and then it
Mm-hmm.
slowly stops beating. But basically, they were called like different names throughout time. Like humans were like first they were called like I think like before animals, and then people they were mostly called the blood people. Basically, they were known as the
Mm-hmm.
blood people, and basically it's just history up until the 1800s, 1867, where they get banished by the humans. The
Mm.
whole like main point is that basically like the humans because they were under rule of the vampires because they're naturally stronger and stuff, and the vampires use blood magic and these symbols basically to control them, but the humans found a way like secretly by like an unknown source to learn these like ancient blood symbols as part of the vampire culture against them, and they basically banish every single vampire to basically just a different like they didn't 100% understand the magic, but they were basically just get rid of the vampires, and it banished them to this place they called the underworld, but the vampires call it something different, dead earth. Basically they a lot of the vampires have Latin terms because I was like,
Mm.
oh, it's a dead language, and I was like, that's pretty interesting for them to use Latin as their main language.
Yeah.
So basically for like almost like 200 years they were gone, and human civilization rebuilt themselves
Mm-hmm.
in like the image of humans. But
Yeah.
suddenly in 2019 vampires started to come back after almost 200 years. Vampires just started to come back, and they were different. They're more animalistic, more monster like. um
Mm.
and basically the apocalypse happens because a lot of past generations are gone, and a lot of the newer generations forgot what it was like to live with the vampires. So basically the apocalypse happens, and a lot of the population has died off, and like famine and war and disease happens, and basically that's where 6 years have gone by now of the apocalypse, and that's where the book begins. Basically the vampires coming back, and 6 years have gone by while these characters have been trapped in this apocalypse, and at the same time in the underworld they all this time the vampires have been working on a plan to bring all the vampires back into the living world
Hmm.
and to have the underworld seep into the living world, basically, because the vampires born in the underworld, they're allergic to sunlight. Because
Yep.
originally vampires, they weren't allergic to it because they lived up there, but the vampires
Ah.
born in the underworld are allergic. So in order for all the vampires to live up in the living world again, they need the darkness of the underworld. And basically their goal is to bring all the vampires up, but also make it night 100% like of the time, like no sun and like the blood moon. Basically, the first title of my book was going to be called The Blood Moon Rising because
Oh
of the
wow. It's another
because
good
but that
title.
was like yeah, but that was like used a lot. So I was like, I wanted
Mm.
a more unique. But
Yeah.
basically, it's named. There's the event of the vampires coming back is called the Blood Moon Rising. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's called that because the moon turned red, basically,
Yeah.
and it's the same moon in the underworld. It's slowly the underworld is seeping into the living world, but the vampire's goal, which they call the resurrection, is basically just to come back, but they need the blood of specifically Maya, the main character, who has basically is immune to vampire bites. It's also a spin off of like being immune to zombies, but it's
Uh,
vampires. Basically, Raven, the vampire princess, her goal is to go to the living world and infiltrate and basically get her way into Maya's friend group, pretend to be a human, and bring her to this ritual site, spill her blood at this vampire symbol, and begin the resurrection.
mm-hmm.
That's basically the beginning of like the plot, the big plot. But like slowly she falls for Maya. She realizes like her family isn't really like good people. Like the vampires like aren't doing like a good thing and stuff like that. Like yeah, that's basically the main plot. But like a lot of stuff happens and yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's like yeah. That's a lot of good depth there. Like for like a large chunk of the main characters you like mentioned and like their traits and like their major arcs that like yeah. All right. So ooh, three more questions. What's your primary motivation behind releasing your book?
Um hmm. Honestly, I just want to get my book out there. Like I want people to like my book. Like I want like this book to like mean something. Like I want people to like see themselves in these characters and like basically just love these characters as same as I do. Like these like this book and these characters mean so much to me and like I think it'd be cool like just for people to have that same passion towards my work and also just to get it out there, like to be like to also be done with it, to like move on to other stuff in the second book, basically.
Yeah, like that's what every writer wants to like have their hard work paid off, to feel a sense of pride and accomplishment, like upon like finally having their work put out to like a general audience and like feeling the validation from others. If that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what every um creator like would want to have and like upon achieve that goal they've been especially like since you said you've been working on this book like years you've mentioned
Yeah.
yeah like you yeah like of course like that's what everybody wants like to like in terms of succeeding as a creator. All right, so for this question, what's the best creative pointer you could give to all would-be writers out there?
um just write what you want to write. Don't be like afraid of people's judgment because everyone isn't gonna like your book, like people are gonna like they're just it's people are gonna give their opinions, but don't let that like put you down. Just do what you're passionate about and just put your work out there and like do what you want to do and just don't use AI.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, like for real, exactly.
yeah.
The last one. Uh, all right, so for this last question that I usually have at the end of most of my interviews, and I kind of already asked you this with the like question you just answered, but like, what's something that you could give to like not just any like would be writer, but like to any person out there, like of at least of like that with similar personality or like interests or like traits as you, like that are also like experience struggle and or that are like trying to find their place out there and um that are just in general trying to make it.
Um yeah, like just don't give up. Like you like can get through it and like there are like people out there with the same interests, same struggles.
Hmm.
Connect with people. Um, just like, just follow what you're passionate about, follow your dreams. Just, like it's there's like nothing wrong with like what you're experiencing, like you're not alone. Um, and just yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. You Yeah, really well summarized. So thank you so much for joining today, Caitlin. Like, good luck with the release of your book. Like, it's like from what you described, it's pretty cool, and like the genres it is. Like, it really like I know a large chunk of people like who like are interested who like love that kind of stuff and would be ecstatic to try it out. And like you said, it'll be and you told me like for this interview that you'll be possibly be releasing it on Amazon and Kindle. You said.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, like maybe maybe like in the future when it releases, I'll possibly link it in the description.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So before I send you off, there's this thing I ask all my interview subjects to do, like at the end of each interview, like it's to do this like little thing, like it's hard to explain, but like I'll it's simple. I'll tell you what to do. Okay, so repeat after me since like and like both like with what I say and what I do. Thumb up,
Thumb up,
devil horns,
devil horns,
um put your hands like this. I don't know what to say for that, but like praying and the heart. Good. Well, hope you have a good day. Of
thank you.
course.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me, guys, today. I am so happy that for all you guys who tuned in, and I hope all you are doing well out there. And I'm glad that more and more people like more and more people that I know and that like who have something like a form of passion or like creative endeavor to talk about are like more and more getting on board with like this. And I'm so glad of that you guys are continuing to encourage me with this. So thank you so much for thank you so much for tuning in to yet another interview. I love you all. Stay cool and stay good.